Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. If you like our content, please do like and subscribe to our page. We'll begin today's session. So, first question. Figures 1 to 5 are views of a cube. Their views of one cube is already given. From the options given below, choose the sixth view of the cube in this series. The rotate, which means because it's mentioned that all the 5 views are of one cube and there is some series happening because it's written the sixth view in the series. There's some method that is being followed. There's some sequence that is being followed for rotation. So let's just find what's the logic of this sequence. Okay. Now, if you look at cube 1 and cube 2 together, and the orientation of the big versus the small line, you will find that there is a difference between the two. If I rotate figure 1 in this direction, we won't get figure 2 because if it were rotated, the thin small line will be here, the big line will be here, which is not happening in figure 2. So what can one find out by that is figure 2 will be the opposite face to what figure 1 is showing, or either of the faces which are hidden in figure 1 will be the place where figure 2 face will happen. All right. But there is definitely a correlation that we can see between figure 1 and figure 3. How? Where figure 1 and figure 3 here, where if I rotate figure 1 in this direction first, big line and small line will come like that. And here, if I further rotate it, I will get exactly in anti-clockwise direction, I'll get exactly what I see in figure 3. Works. Next, when I look at figure 3 and 5 like that, figure 3 rotated in this direction, again clockwise direction, I will get this kind of a figure, and then again this figure rotated counterclockwise, I'll get this figure here, which is 5. So by that same logic, if I say 2 and 4, 2 and 4 also, 2 or 4 may it is rotating anti-clockwise, counterclockwise first. So counterclockwise rotated here, and then this rotated, sorry, 2 or 3, 2 or 4 may it is rotating clockwise, and then it is rotating counterclockwise. So where I get figure 4. So figure 4 to 6, when rotated, this goes on top here, like this, big line and small line, and then this further rotated counterclockwise, I will get the big line here and the small line here. So option B is the one which is the right answer here. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Figure 1 shows an unfolded cube. Below it are 4 options showing 4 fully folded cuboids. Identify the cuboid that can be unfolded as figure 1. Okay, which cuboid can be unfolded as figure 1? Now, let's start with the option A. Option A, I have a slant line and then I have a thick line and a thin line here. A slant line on the left, a thick line and a thin line on the right. That part happens here somewhere. A wala option, slant line, thick line and thin line. Based on that, the top part has to be. Now, if this left and right orientation works here, where this is left and right, it's working fine. The top part has to be this figure, not this one. This one, when it coincides with this part here, where the thin line comes and the thick line comes here. That does not happen with the top view here, so A is wrong. With case of option D, A and D actually are similar, where this and this orientation is exactly the same. ये बदल जाता है. So option D is wrong because इसमें ये slant वाला part गलत है. Okay. In option A, the top part was different. In option D, both the top as well as the slant part is different. So both are wrong. Between B and C. Now, if we look at B and C, with case of option B, the thick and thin line happens on the left and the slant height happens on the right. Thick and thin line on the left and the slant one happening on the right. Works out fine, not a problem here. Thick and thin line, it's here, thick and thin line here and the slant height here. Works out fine, not a problem. With reference to this, the top part has to be definitely this much edge. which means कि ये वाला edge उसका है will fixate on this part. When it attaches to this part, यहाँ पे thin line आएगा और यहाँ पे thick line आएगा in that case, which is also working with how we see in option B. Fine, not a problem. We are keeping it on hold. Next, we look at option C. Option C में we have a slant height and then a thick line and a thin line. ये वाला जो part है happens on this side, in this facade. यहाँ पे हो रहा है, this part. Slant height, thick line, thin line. This is the left and this is the right part. With that, we know that there is a thick line and the thin line getting attached on top of it. So this rotation happens on this side, यहाँ पे. So even that works out. But so actually here both B and C are working fine that way. There is also one more way of looking at it, and I tell you the option C, and you may be confused, but option C can be worked out here this way also, where the slant height, the thick line and the thin line comes here, thick line corresponding to the slant height and thin line corresponding to the other edge. So that works out here, यहाँ पे. And then if this supposed to be the left and this supposed to be the right, in that case, this part has to be the top view that we see in C. The orientation of that is working, not a problem. ये दोनों perpendicularly work out हो रहा है, which is not any issue. So C is also fine. Both B and C works out in this case, but in this case, an alternative argument, if you want, can be put forth in a way that the thickness that we see in B is smaller compared to the thickness that we see in C, versus यहाँ पे thicker line है. So ideally, you should not consider B and C should be given the right answer. So one may take up that argument, but here both B and C option work. Okay. We'll move to the next one. 3 views of a block with 7 different shapes printed on its surfaces are shown below. Find the same block from different options. Which is the same block from these options? If we look at the block, the pentagonal surface of the block, on one side, there are 2 pentagonal surfaces that this block will have. On one side, there's a square, and on the other side, there's a star. There is no other pentagonal, there's no third pentagonal surface that this solid will have. So by that logic, we have to have a square or a star on the pentagonal surface. From the options, it's happening only in option A, where the star is given. In all other options, different other shapes are there, which are wrong. So A is the right answer here. We'll move to the next one. The image below shows a product designed by Raymond Loewy. You have to identify what this product is. What is the purpose of the product? There's a beautiful product that is defined by this designer, Raymond Loewy. This works as a pencil sharpener. Okay, we'll move to the next one. These are the modified images by famous artists. You have to identify the correct sequence of artists for the original image, which is the artist of the original image. These are modified version. Okay. Now the first one is designed by the first one, the artist of the first figure is Michelangelo. Next, it is Vermeer. Uske baad, this is Van Gogh, and this is Da Vinci. Okay, the option corresponding to these will be B, Michelangelo, Vermeer, Van Gogh, and Da Vinci. So B is the right answer here. Move to the next one. These images are made using different art techniques. You have to identify the correct sequence of the techniques from the option. When you look at the option, clearly the first one is watercolor. So we'll go with option A, which says watercolor, crayons, acrylic, and oil paint. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Given below are steps to tie a shoelace, but the steps seem to be mixed up. What is the correct logical sequence of these steps? I'm not reading the steps, but we'll directly jump into the options here. So from the options, we know that first step either has to be 6, 3, or 5. Of all of them, the first step has to be either of these 3 options. Third one says hold one end of shoelace in each hand. Fifth one says bend it into a flat loop and pull together to make a bow. That happens towards the end actually, so we'll drop 5. Sixth one says fold one shoelace in half while holding the other laces taut. Now in this case we are holding the laces together, so definitely C will also be dropped because in the first step you have to hold the shoelace together. So एक ही option so only one option is possible, which is option B, which means third step has to be the first one here. Okay, we'll move to the next one. On the left-hand side are pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. You have to identify the image that can be reproduced using all the pieces shown at the left. Which of these images can be produced using all the shapes that are given on the left? In option A, when you look at it, it seems fine, not much of a problem. With case of option B, this shape is a problem. Even this form with the curvature, वो गलत है. With case of option C, this is wrong in proportion, and also we get a perpendicular here. With case of option D, again that perpendicular is happening here, which is wrong, because यहाँ पे we don't see any perpendicular. So correct answer is option A here. We'll move to the next one. Identify the most accurate shadow of the object given below. The arrow indicates the direction of the light. The arrow actually should be somewhere like this. The direction, now here in this case, when you compare all the options together, there'll be one thing peculiar about option D is there is only one edge here versus यहाँ पे there is 2 edges, one and then the other one. Also, this part is little bit problematic, so D is wrong. BC, ABC now. ABC, we see this part to be a problem. Where ये curvature है, यहाँ पे भी curvature है. So B and C are wrong by that. Option A is the one which is the right answer. D में it is the proportion of both of the curvatures which are little bit problem. यहाँ पे छोटा है, नीचे वाला बड़ा है. That's why. We'll move to the next one. At the left is an empty glass with a straw. From the option given, identify the correct representation of the straw when the glass is half filled with water. When the glass is half filled with water, what is the correct representation of the straw? Now, when the glass is filled with water and we are looking at it from outside, when the medium is in water, it enlarges a bit compared to the original size. So thereby, option A is the one which is the right answer, where there is bending of light happening here and then the object is also enlarging a bit. Okay, we'll move to the next one. If the given flat shape is revolved about y-axis by 360 degree, identify the solid shape that will be generated by that. Which solid will be generated by this when I rotate this shape along the y-axis at 360 degree. To compare all the options together, one peculiar thing that happens with option B is we see a line here, which is not there in A, C, and D. Now that part is corresponding to this edge. यहाँ पे there'll be only one edge here and one edge here and not in between anything. So B is wrong. A, C, and D, when you compare all of them together, in option D, this part is missing, which is there in A and C. वहां पे in that edge we have a surface here, so clearly there will be an edge formed here, definitely. So D is wrong. A and C, when you compare together, the top part is the one where you find the difference happening. Here in the top part there are 2 edges formed, which means there will be 2 circular rings getting formed. So C is wrong. A is the right answer. We'll move to the next one. Shown below are schematic diagrams of a regular door latch. X represents the door and Y represents the frame in the wall. You have to identify which latch can be used for correctly locking the door. When you compare all the options together, and if I look at this distance, A में this distance is less and ये बड़ा है, which means it won't lock at all. So A is wrong. B में this distance and this distance is same. So B is fine, not a problem. With case of option C, this and this is different. ये छोटा है, this is bigger, which means again locking is not possible. Like it was with the case of option A. And with case of option D, this is situated on the other side. Ideally, it has to come on this side where the door is there. So D is wrong. Option B is the one which is the right answer here. We'll move to the next one. Pick a point on the outermost ring of the maze shown below. In order to find your way home, each point indicates the direction of your next move, which means if here east is given, I will move towards the east. If west is given, I will move towards the west. Okay, that's what it means. Which point on the outermost ring should be your starting point in order to reach home in the fewest step, the minimum step? Okay. First option says west. West is located here. This is option A. Okay. Let's see where we reach from west. It says west, which means I have to go here. From there, it says southwest. I have to go here. From there, it says southwest. I have to go here. From there, it says southeast. I go here. From here, north. From here, west. From here, southwest, which means I'll be stuck up in this triad here. So A is wrong, not possible. Then we go to option B. In case of option B, it says north. North is located here. North, you go here, north. Yahan se it says southwest, then north, and then west. Again, I will be getting stuck in this triad, so D is not possible. Next, option C, northeast. In northeast is located here. C is northeast, yahan pe. So I go here, northeast, then north, and then west, which means in 3 steps, I will be able to reach C. So C is fine, not a problem. Let's check D now. D says northwest. Northwest is located here. Northwest means I go here. Yeah. Southwest I'm going. Northwest means I go here. From there, it says the southeast. Southeast is again going back. This says northwest, I go back, which means I'll be stuck in this loop. So D is also not possible. So correct answer is option C, which is the northeast, which only takes me to home. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Shown below is a triangular prism cut into 2 parts, P and Q. You have to identify which option represents the part P. When you look at all the options together, A and D are part Q here represented. So we are not touching A and D here. हमको क्योंकि part P ढूंढना है, we have to find part P, that's why. B and C, in C we get this kind of a surface, and that surface happens on both the sides. So therefore, in actually P we need this kind of an edge. So C is wrong and B is the right answer here. We'll move to the next one. A pyramid with base side 6 centimeter and height 7 centimeter is merged with a cube of length 5 centimeters such that the centroid of the cube matches with the center of the base of the pyramid. The base of the pyramid is parallel to the base of the cube, and the edges of the base of the pyramid is parallel to the side of the cube. Count the total number of surfaces that will be generated. We are given here a cube that is of 5 centimeter sides, and then we are given here a square pyramid that has a base side of 6 centimeter and the height of 7 centimeters. Centroid of the cube means the point, the diagonal where they connect, this center. So if I were to draw the center of the cube, when I look at the cube from the front, the center of the cube will come, centroid of the cube will come here. And the center of the base of the triangle, this square pyramid, the centroid of the base of the of the square pyramid that will come here. What we are doing is we are merging these 2 points together and we are forming a new solid. In which case, when I merge them together, the triangle will come here like this. And it will look like this in elevation. If I were to draw this in 3D, I will see the triangular pyramid, which is the top part, this one. Followed by that, I will see the some edge, which is a 5 centimeter edge of the cube, which is this one. Followed by that, I will see this vertical, which will be here. Followed by that, I will see the slant edge, which will look something like this. And followed by that, I will see the base, which will come here. Now, if I count the total number of surfaces that will be there here, in the pyramid, there will be 4 surfaces. In the top part, in this edge, there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 surfaces, 4 vertical surfaces and the top surface. In this part, there will be 4 slanted surfaces and the base, this base, so 5 surfaces. And in this part, there will be 4 vertical surfaces and the bottom base, so 5 surfaces. So it comes out to a total of 19 surfaces that the resultant solid will have. Okay. With this, I will end today's session here. Thank you so much for your time.